Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today is Wednesday and I think you're a little if you keep up with my posting schedule, you're probably like, hello, like you post on Sundays, not Wednesdays. But I am thinking is the very key word, okay? Very capital letters, thinking of starting to post sometimes, occasionally on Wednesdays as well. So Wednesdays and Sundays, because I want to make the commitment to myself to be posting every single Sunday. But with that, there are sometimes ideas that I have that, I just really need to either work it in, like something like this where we're going to be talking about my April wrap up. I felt like if I waited till Sunday, it was so late into the month already to post that. So I was like, how do I make it closer? So then I've been thinking about Wednesdays, and so kind of going around with that idea and everything. So that's kind of why there's just sometimes ideas that I have that I want to be put up at a certain point and waiting for a Sunday, but then also having other ideas. It's just the way that the brain works. Yeah. Anyways, all of that to say is that occasionally there might be a Wednesday upload. I'm not going to say that there's going to be a Wednesday upload every single Wednesday. I don't think I'm in the place to commit to that. Obviously, we need to be committing to posting regularly on the YouTube in general. So not going to commit to that, but if there's ever something or whatever of the sorts that I want to put up, and you see it on a Wednesday, that's why. So today we are talking about my April reading wrap up. And April is actually the best reading month I've had all year. Reading 7 books, I believe. Yes, 7. Because one of them was on my Kindle and it's a novella, so I'm not buying that. But we are going to be talking about them, and we are going to be talking about my star ratings and my thoughts and all of the everything about them, okay? So I'm going to be pulling up my Fable. This is not sponsored, but Fable, if you want to sponsor me, hit me up. I do pay for Fable Plus, and it is pretty good. I feel like if you want the stats on your reading, it's very interesting. Even me with some things that I'm like, wow, I'd never thought of it like that, and seeing everything laid out like that, it's very interesting. But I'm more like it just to keep track of how many books I've read, my star ratings, everything's just in one app. So honestly, I highly recommend. So pulling up my Fable, I have my ratings now just because I don't ever fully remember my star ratings unless it's a 5. But let's get into it. Speaking of 5s. Oh my God. When I tell you, Miss Liz Tomford, the men that she writes, love. Okay, In Her Own League by Liz Tomford. This is the final book in the Windy City series, and this is so good. This is obviously a 5, like I just said, but just to make it really clear, a 5-star read, okay? This is following Monty, which is the head coach of the Windy City Warriors, and the female love interest is Reese, who is the owner of the Windy City Warriors. So you can see where that gets a little messy. Ooh, a little workplace romance. Ooh. When I tell you Monty, the man that Monty is, okay? If you haven't seen an edit about the man that Emmerich Montgomery is, I need you to go look right now, okay? I need you to go pull up that TikTok right now. Type in Emmerich Montgomery. When I tell you, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Anyways, following their journey, it is obviously a little bit messy with the workplace romance and everything like that, but just the man that Monty is just so beautiful. But also seeing the relationships continue to grow in this one, following other couples from the previous books in the series. When I tell you, I literally started to cry when I saw the other characters mentioned in this, which I knew that they were, because Monty is actually the dad of Miller, who is the female main character in Caught Up. So obviously knowing that everything connected with that, so obviously I knew that they were going to be mentioned quite a bit in this, and that we were going to be seeing the other characters, but seeing this be wrapped up in such a pretty little bow. And honestly, I really cried at the end for their love story, but also because I knew that this is the last time I was going to be reading about these characters ever again for the first time, and something broke in me in that moment. But really a 5-star read. If you haven't read the Windy City series, I highly recommend. It's literally my favorite series of all time. This is a screenshot of my coworker telling me that she read Mile High, which is the first book in the Windy City series, and that she cried. I'm telling you, it's that good. You have to go read it. And this one was no different. The next read was The Fall Risk by Abby Jimenez. So both of these, as well as the next read that I'm going to be talking about, was in a vlog that I did for 24 hours of reading. So if you want to see my reactions in real time to these books, go watch that. But I did read The Fall Risk, which is a novella by Abby Jimenez. And I rated it a 2-star, but really I wouldn't rate it because I feel like a novella is so short that you can't really get like everything in it, you know. But for what it was, very good. You're following two neighbors, Charlotte and Seth, and basically there's a mix up with their apartment complex where their stairs are removed from where their apartments go down to the first floor. So they're basically stuck up there for a weekend. So this is following them through the weekend, and you know, just kind of they start to, you know, take a peek at each other because they're the only people that they can see for the weekend. And it is very interesting how much Abby was able to fit in these pages, because I want to say it's like 70 something pages, under 80 pages. The way that she fit so much into those 80 pages was insane, and it really just shows you the writer that Abby is. So I do recommend. Obviously it's a quick read. I read it in like, I believe, an hour. It's a good book to hit the reading goal, and yeah, I feel like I definitely recommend that one. Next, and the last book that I read in the 24 hours of reading-a-thon was The Intruder by Frida McFadden. Frida will always hit for me. I rated this a 3-star. It wasn't my favorite Frida book I've ever read, but at the same time, Frida just knows how to get you. You know, she really gets you in. It was a good book for the 24-hour reading because I really got sucked in and finished this pretty quickly. I believe it took me about 3.5 hours to read. You're following 2 point of views in this, and then, you know, you kind of have that ending where everything then gets pieced together and you find out about the intruder. But yeah, highly recommend. I lied to you. I read The Fall Risk and The Intruder, and then this book is the last book that I read in the 24-hour reading-a-thon, which was Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Do I recommend that you read this in 24 hours? Absolutely not. But it is a great book. I rated this a 4.25 stars. It is an amazing book. The story in this is super good. The writer that Taylor Jenkins Reid is phenomenal. And the way that she was able to really describe all of these different situations, and you were totally able to feel like this was you. Crazy. So good. I do highly recommend it. I just do think that like my feelings towards it weren't as good as they could have been if I read this at a slower pace and was able to take my time to digest everything in this. But I still recommend it. It's still very good. So you're following Joan, who is a female scientist. I think that's what you would call her, right? A female scientist in the 1980s, and she basically applies to NASA to become an astronaut. So you're following her journey in that, and you're also following her journey in the 80s, finding out that she is part of the LGBTQ community and following that journey as well with her. And obviously there's a lot of different parts to this, and there's a lot of layers to this because it's the 80s. It wasn't really fully accepted to be a part of that community, and also there is also kind of like a workplace romance in here. Yeah. But this is very good. I did cry at the end. I do highly recommend. Next. Ooh, another 5-star. Another 5-star. A banger, honestly. A banger. I read The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez. Abby is back with this one. I talked about it. I do have a vlog reading this one in your own league as well, if you want to watch that for my in-depth, like in real time reactions to this. This is so good though. I rated this a 5-star. Abby is literally my favorite author. I talk about it a lot in that video, so I'm not going to bore you on that. But you're following Larissa and Chris, and this is a boyfriend best friend trope. And honestly, I was very scared when I heard about that because I said, what do you mean boyfriend's best friend? What does that even mean? Correct. Yeah, that don't sound correct. Anyways, the journey that this took me on, insane. The man that Chris is, the love that Chris gives. That's all I have to say. The man that Chris is and the love that Chris gives. Go read this. Next is The Night Road by Kristen Hanna. This is my first Kristen Hanna book, and I was actually very surprised. This took me on a journey, and the journey was sad, and the journey, tears. This book made me cry so many different times. Insane. I rated this a 4.5 stars. I do highly recommend it. Just know that it does deal with some heavier topics, I would say. So I would maybe read if there is any trigger warnings on here. It is following a group of teenagers, 3 of them in particular, 2 best friends, and then one of them is her twin brother. So a sibling duo with a best friend, but then the best friend starts dating the twin brother. Okay, so there's just a trio. And there is a drunk driving incident in this. Just going to say that as a fair warning. But I do think it was handled in a very respectful way. And I will say I really enjoyed it. As sad as it was, I really enjoyed it. And I really highly recommend. And I will be reading more Kristen Hanna. And lastly for the month, I read Crossroads by Devney Perry. I believe is how you pronounce her name. This book was pretty good. I will say I do recommend it. It is a duology, and I just finished the second book, but I finished that in May, so that's why it's not in this video. I do recommend this duology. It was very good. I do say I wasn't as wowed as I thought I was going to be. A lot of people say that this is like a 5-star read for them. I rated this a 3.5 stars. I just felt like there was a couple things in there that I didn't fully love, but I did really like the story about it, and I do feel like I would recommend it. It's following India and Wes, and this is basically like a childhood romance in a sense, and like second chance romance, and obviously they're on a ranch. It's called the Haven Raven Ranch series. So cowboy romance, very good. I do highly recommend. Like I said, it wasn't my favorite, but I think I might have went into it with a little bit too high of expectations because I've heard everybody rank it a 5. But if you just go into it knowing that it's a good book and don't expect anything world breaking, very good. Do recommend. And it is like a short little read, so I do highly recommend. And that is all of the books that I read in April. I do highly recommend all of them. Honestly, I had a very good reading month. 2 5 stars, and most of the other ones were like in the 4 to high 3s. I feel like this is a very good month for me. It was my best reading month I've had all year. So yeah, I really am so excited about it. I feel like it's kind of pushing me into May to read even more. So I'm excited to see what May brings. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys on Sunday. Bye.